It was a warm Monday morning, just like any other in school, and the day was about 76 degrees out, and we were just all very, very tired in our first period class after having a very rambunctious weekend, as all of us do, freaking snorting lines of cocaine. I'm just kidding. But I'm sure that we were all very tired, and we were just sitting there listening to our teacher, who for some reason half the time she would teach, and half the time she would just tell us boring life stories. I mean, sometimes they were interesting, but about 98% of the time they were boring. So she was just going on and on and on about how she bought a new Yorkie puppy, and it just was barking all night, and she barely got any sleep, and her husband and her daughter were grumpy, and I was just thinking, please just shoot me now. I do not really care. I don't care in the slightest about this story, so please just shut the fuck up. I came here to learn, honestly. I mean, I would rather you put on a movie about the lifestyle of a dung beetle or something, because that would be more interesting. But your story is just numbing my brain to the point where I feel like a brain dead person at this point. But then the day started to get a little bit more interesting. The dean came over the loudspeaker, said, "This is not a drill, this is not a drill. We are going into a code yellow lockdown." So the teacher was all, "Oh shit, I better actually do my job." So she locked the door, closed the shades and everything. And basically, a code yellow lockdown is not the same as a code red lockdown. A code red lockdown means that there's an intruder in the building, and a code yellow lockdown either means that there's an intruder outside or close to the premises, but not in the building, or it could mean what was going on here. So we were all just thinking around and everything, and we were all starting to say, what's a code yellow? I mean, what does that mean? And some of us were saying, I think I know what it means. One guy said, I'm pretty sure I know what it means. I'm pretty sure they found out that a student has drugs in their locker. So what they're doing basically is they're just having drug dogs sniff around. So I was actually able to look out the window cover, even though you're not supposed to. And I saw these big German Shepherd dogs, and they were sniffing each person's locker and just sniffing and sniffing and sniffing. And then they got to the point where they were almost just positive and saying, okay, I think nobody's locker has drugs. It must be a false alarm. But then they got to the very last locker of that hallway, and I assumed that they sniffed every other locker in the school. They got to the very last one, and the dog finally sat down next to it. And basically what that means, if you're not somebody who has a German Shepherd police type of dog, I mean, I don't, but I mean, I've seen shows such as Cops, where it's basically real police officers arrest people and have all kinds of crazy stuff. And I mean, the show is actually pretty funny. There is one clip that I quote a lot of the time where they pull over some crackhead or something. He said, don't you see the lights? And he goes, I thought it was Christmas.
The only thing I'm saying now is that I did not really know who you were. I thought you was a thug. It's dark over here, and when you
How about the overhead lights?
I thought it was Christmas. I didn't know.
But I mean, I just think it's pretty funny. But basically what that happens is when a police dog, they will sniff around for drugs, and if they smell something, then they'll sit by the person's car, their door, their whatever, anything, and this person's dog just sat right next to it, so they're all like, oh shit, bingo. And then they ended up using, what they have is some students, they just will do this. They'll either break off their lock if they have one or something. And some students, I don't even know how, they have a special lock, or is it had a built-in lock thing that you turn, just like a freaking one of those locks that I forget what it, like a padlock thing. It's just on the locker and everything. So they basically just use their freaking magic key that opens every locker. They put it in there, and they opened it, and they found a little medicine bottle with some pills on it. So this kid, at first I thought it might have been prescription or something, because I was actually thinking, I know this kid. This is actually I don't know, Harold's locker. I just made up some name on the spot. This is actually Harold's locker. So we ended up being all, oh shit, Harold's in trouble. So then later that day, actually, I saw Harold leaving the school and looking very sad, and I was all, what? And I wasn't really friends with this kid. I'd known him all the way since kindergarten, but I wasn't really friends with him. But it was just kind of a guy who we didn't really talk, and if I saw him, I'd say hello, might wish him a happy birthday, something along those lines. But then I walked up to him and I go, Harold, what happened? And he goes, I got expelled. And I went, oh shit, you got expelled? Like, that's what happened? And he goes, yeah. So, and I go, what happened? And he goes, well, I've had a lot of back pain and everything. And so, I ended up getting these oxycodone pills. I took them from my mom. And I was like, your mom? Why'd you steal them? And he was like trying to tell the deans that they were freaking prescription and everything. They weren't and everything. So then he ends up just saying that, I guess, is a sort of a lie. But then basically he got expelled, and I was just thinking, what's gonna happen? So then basically I wasn't really friends with this guy as much, so I didn't really have his contact info. But then a while later I saw another guy who was kind of good friends with Harold. They hung out every once in a while. So I asked Harold's friend, I said, so hey, what happened to Harold? And he goes, well, essentially Harold got expelled because of the pills. And I was, oh yeah, I know that, everything. And they said he got expelled because of it. And then what happened is they sent him over to an alternative school, which is basically just a bad kid school, you know, sort of like, I don't know, some people might have called it an F school in a way, but it's basically just a bad kid school. And basically how that works is, like, a lot of kids, when they get expelled for drugs and everything, they will get, I don't know if that happens for like alcohol or marijuana or maybe for vapes or anything, because I know those are actually, all three of those are legal, at least where I live, you know, like vaping is legal at 21, alcohol is legal at 21, marijuana is legal at 21 and stuff. And but pills are not legal. They're legal, but I mean, to an extent where, you know, you actually have to have like a valid reason for having them. You have to have, like, I just had surgery recently or something. Like, you can't just be walking around with oxycodone or Vicodin in your pocket, just be like, hey. You can't just be doing that, you know. So maybe if you had a prescription and like the deans approved of it and you weren't going to be all screwed up in class, they would maybe let you, but I don't know. I never had to mess with any of those things, so I really have no idea how that type of shit works. But basically he was sent to that bad kid's school, and from what his friend had said, basically I don't even know, it was pretty bad for him there too, because they kind of put him onto a new addiction. Like, he kind of quit oxycodone, but then I heard that he tried Xanax there. Some guy gave him Xanax or something, told him it was candy, and he tried it. But basically they said it was really sketchy, and kids would like deal drugs in the bathroom and stuff. Like, they'd sell like vapes and carts and all kinds of crazy shit in the bathroom, you know. And they were also like, it was I think something about every single kid there did drugs at that school. That was kind of why they were there, he just said, and it was pretty crazy, you know. He had said some kids did like heroin, some kids did meth, some kids did fentanyl. He even said kids did jankum, which, by the way, is not a real drug. It's basically when you mix pee and poop, and that was some kind of prank that they try to do to make kids feel high, and it doesn't work. It's stupid. So basically, yeah, that was that. And he basically spent the rest of his days in school at that alternative school. And basically, I guess he just spent time in there, and he was saying that he had to walk through a scanner and everything just to make sure you didn't have anything illegal on you and everything every time you went to the school. And like, they would pat you down, do all kinds of stuff. Like, my school, if you could probably take a gun in your backpack and they wouldn't even know. I mean, nobody ever has, but you probably could, because they don't even search bags or anything. So yeah, that is pretty much the end of the story, how this kid got caught with pills. So I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.